Welcome back to my channel. I'm going to go over the Hornady lock and load, progressive press, the feeding tube stuff. I did make some modifications. Depending on what era you bought your press. For example, my press is probably about 20 years old. So um, that's even in the era where you had the wire case kick out. Here's my manuals from buying all the different things separately. This is a printed off one of the current stuff. But when you first got your press back in those days, you had it came with this part, this, and the two tubes. As you know now, a lot of you probably recognize getting this part, which is what they call the feed tube and primary. Then you'll get this part and this part, which is what they call the feed tube insert, which will be the small and the intermediate. And this is what takes place of the large. And then you'll get your large tube and the small feeding tube. Now, in the era when I got my press, you would get both of these, which one would have been your small, one would have been your large. You would have your large tube, small tube, and then your plastic feed tube bushing for the small. So those would have been the parts that you got. Now, the reason I made modification because this got damaged. I ended up modifying this one, so this isn't originally the same setup or size, I should say. But you'll have your small tube, large tube, and what a lot of people have problems with is, for example, the 40 Smith & Wesson is you might have some that just slide right through because if you can see, it's got a real tight tolerance. But if you have a case with a little bit of a bulge, as you can see, it wouldn't go down. So that was a lot of issues I had remembering back doing the press and running it, and you'd always have to use large tube. So the only problem I don't like with the large tube is I'll just kind of show you real quick here. Is I think they sit in there really sloppy. You get a bunch of these, and this is only showing, you can see how they're all cocked all over the place coming down. I wasn't really impressed with that. And so I decided, after I got this was damaged and I asked for replacement, they sent me this, which at first I thought they sent me a wrong part because I was like, I don't even know what this is. So I ended up calling back, and they told me that they made some changes. So that's when I printed off this manual and seeing that they made changes. So I ended up getting what they call the intermediate size. And I told myself, well, I said, honestly, I said, it's the tube size that's the issue. And he says, well, I know. And so what I did is, you can see with the small, they make the opening for the small tube, and of course it fits in there, and then your tube slides in, which y'all should know that already. They're doing it, and then you got your intermediate, which is a little bit modified, a little bit different, but then you use your large tube. I wasn't really impressed with that. I think Hornady could have done a little bit better job. So what I did is I had some material, so I went with a different size tube, which if you end up making these, this is a polycarbonate tube. They do make, I do have some, they do have also an acrylic. The acrylic, depending on what size you make it, is actually about 10 thousandths bigger in diameter. So as you can see, it slides in. The acrylic doesn't slide in. So you would have to machine it for one or the other. So what I did is I machined the same dimensions on the outside, which will slide into your primary. Then I bored it. So it's basically, this tube is a 5/8 with a 1/2 inch ID. So I bored it so it counts for that tube. And then I took just like the original for the small plastic feed tube bushing, I made one identical outside dimensions. Difference here is, I believe that was 1/2 inch. I'd have to look at my prints I printed out. I knurled it, bored out for the 5/8, and it'll sit in your press or in your die, in your press, just like that. Just like you would with all the other ones. So, give me a second here. I don't have a cameraman, so gotta do all this stuff off of tripods. I'm gonna get this set up into the other tripod here. I do apologize for the format of this video. I don't like having the camera in this position. Of course, you don't have a bigger picture, but when you don't have a cameraman holding the stuff for you, and to be able to get everything in the shot, that's the process that you got to do. So if you give me a second here, I'll get this all set up. Yeah, I haven't made any videos for a while. I know anybody that's followed me is probably wondering why I hadn't made no videos. I guess some of the reason I haven't made videos, and I know I don't really talk about it, but me and my dad were big shooting buddies, and I lost my dad from kind of an unexpected death, and I guess everybody grieves in different ways, but with him being my shooting buddy, it kind of, losing my dad was unexpected. It didn't sit well. I got away from shooting for a while. I didn't get rid of my stuff. I just got away from it. But you know, I've been getting back into it more. I haven't used this press for a long time. My dad was the main one that used this press. He didn't have the patience for single stage presses. I did more of the single stage. I was more precision. But we shot a lot more rifle. He did most of the reloading when it came to the pistol stuff, because we did all that on the progressive press. Alright, anyways, back to this. Now, I got it set up like I said. You got your primary. I got the custom, what they call intermediate. I just call them mediums. And then I got the custom made bushing for the medium size, and then I got the polycarbonate tubing for it. So now you'll see when I turn this on and it fills up, it won't be all cocked all over the place. Like on the large tube, you have about an 1/8 inch diameter all the way around it on free play on the inside with a 40. Which is a lot. This one here gives you about a 1/16 around. And of course the small tube is almost the diameter of the 40 if you have any bulge. So you can see that they sit nice and straight. They're not all over. I don't know why Hornady made their fix the way they did. I think it was kind of a simple way of putting it, a half-assed way of doing it. All they had to done is revamp that bushing for a different size tube. Use the tube and the different bushing. Would have been so much nicer. Now, I'm not sure on the video if you can see. let's kind of feed them through here. So I've tested this because I've been processing some 40 Smith & Wesson. Now normally I run it through just a sizing die at first, so it decaps and sizes it, and then I go through the process of cleaning them and all that other stuff before I actually start reloading. And then when I actually reload on here, I don't have the sizing die in here because that process is already done and the brass is clean at that point. But as you can see, it feeds fine going down the tubes. Now I do have some extra material. Now if I make some of these, I'm not really sure. It's going to depend. It's going to depend on, I guess, if I have time. Will I make them as a continuous thing? No. If I make a few, it'll probably be what I got left on material, which will probably end up being, oh, maybe, I think I got enough to maybe make 10 or 11. So, I'm going to leave it right there. Now, I will be making some more videos here soon. I got one video. It has to do with the case feeder itself. Not a product that I made, but it's going to be testing it, reviewing it. It has to do with helping on feeding the case and not jamming, especially with the 9mm. There is one modification I already want to do to it, which that way you don't have to drill holes into the bowl to mount it. And then I also have another video that has to do with a tumbler I don't use. But those that might already have it, things you can do to modify it. Alright, well I hope this video kind of helped. If you have any questions, or if I get a bunch of questions on something I didn't cover, I do not have a problem doing a follow-up video on this. Thanks for stopping by, watching the video. Hope this helps you out, or maybe give you ideas. If you need dimensions on the stuff, I can try to help you out giving you the dimensions. I haven't quite done up the prints yet. I got a couple of the prints, or what I call prints, has all the dimensions on it to help. Like I said, if you go with acrylic tubing or the polycarbonate, it's going to really depend on the opening on that size. The size I would have on the sheet would be for polycarbonate. So anyways, thanks for checking my videos out. Have a good day.